One of the things I see very common in what RSD calls hardcase newbies, or anyone who is very inexperienced when it comes to dating and women and relationships and stuff like that, is that a lot of times, and I used to be like this as well, is that a lot of times they are approval seeking. What do I mean by that? Or they're attention seeking. What do I mean by approval seeking? I mean, these are things that people do, stuff that people say, that tries to get them attention, that tries to get other people's approval. It'll elicit a certain response, and if they don't get said responses, then you know that they think something's wrong with them, or something like that. In its most extreme case, you'll see a lot of career criminals act this way because they're trying to fill an empty void in their soul. An empty void which they really can't ever fill, because when you get attention from somebody, it becomes pretty addictive. When I was an adolescent, pretty much up until, we'll say, the age of like about 18, well, from ages like 16 to 18, when I was in high school, during like the really, during the big years in high school, I would say a lot of outlandish stuff to get attention. I don't really want to mention the whole details of it, but I did a lot of things that people would say, "Holy crap, I can't believe you just said that," and I'd be like, "Yeah, got my attention for the day. Awesome, cool." You know what I mean? And that made me happy. And a lot of this was getting negative attention because I didn't really have, I had friends. I had like a little clique that I hung out with in high school, but I didn't hang out with them after. I didn't really hang out with anybody after school ended or on the weekends or whatever. It was just me and a childhood friend of mine. We would just play GoldenEye all day, pretty much. That's pretty much what we did for a long time, and it was some really good fun. Those were good times, but I also missed out on a lot of personal growth that I was just like, that I was really ignoring. And the reason why that is because I was so addicted to getting attention. And I'll never forget, and this is going to tie into a different thing that I'm going to talk about later on. I met a really cool girl that I really wanted to hang out with. I really wanted to go out with. She was really awesome. Or at least I thought. She was just really popular, and I wanted to be popular, more popular than I was at the current moment. So I said to myself, maybe if I can hook up with this girl, it'll be cool. She's really popular, and she seems to be cool to everybody, and I want somebody like that in my life. It'd be awesome. And I remember I was like, alright, I gotta get her attention, and then try to impress her or something like that, whatever. And my mom said, I told my mom about her, and my mom was like, okay, if you're gonna want to date this girl, you can't do the same things you do with everyone else. You can't complain about stuff you can't make fun of everything. You can't say the outlandish stuff that just gets you cheap laughs. You can't do that. And I said, okay, cool. So now I gotta be a gentleman now, And so I did that, and yeah, she didn't really respond well to it because I wasn't what they call an RSD congruent. I wasn't really speaking my mind. What was on my mind was like, what I wanted to say, or I wanted to make fun of her for being a cheerleader. You know what I mean? I really wanted to do that. Because I had done that to a lot of girls in high school, and it got me a lot of positive attention. Attention that I really could have, and I could have really molded that into several dating relationships, but I just did not know how to make the moves, as they say. And so, I was being nice to her and whatever, and she just wasn't having it because I had like an ulterior motive. Expectations for the behavior, for the things I was saying. You know what I mean? This is why compliments and buying women's stuff in order in order to make you seem more attractive and whatever, or being a gentleman, pretty much. That's why it doesn't really work, because there's an ulterior motive behind it. It's very approval seeking. So you gotta stop that. It's really, really hard to stop it, but once you do, and you learn some good fundamentals, how to make proper moves, how to not be so nervous, and everything like that, how to admit that you are nervous, which I'm going to go into in a few minutes. That kind of stuff is a little bit more effective, okay? And like I said, approval seeking at its worst, that's what leads to these older guys making videos on the internet saying, oh, I'm 37 years old, never had sex, and wah wah wah, you know what I mean? Call the ambulance, you know what I mean? And I'm not making fun of anybody here. I'm just saying that is a very approval-seeking tactic. It's a tactic that just screams out, please accept me, when you don't even accept yourself. How do you expect others to do it for you? You can't make someone do the legwork when you yourself can do it probably several times better. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. It's just a thing, I'm preaching a thing called self-accountability, okay? If you're a guy and you want relationships and you want to have a trying to find words here. And you want to have recreational sex, and you want to, we'll say, practice for the main event. That's what I called it in the last video. And you want to explore dating, and you want to do that just so you can see who is more who is comfortable for you, what type of women that you like, and stuff like that. You've got to own up to your own insecurities. You have to own up to your own flaws and not expect anybody to own up for them for you. You know what I mean? A lot of people go into the game. They call it the game. I just call it courtship. A lot of people go into courtship thinking that once they find the one girl that they want to hook up with, that it's going to solve everything. And what usually happens is, they'll never get that one girl, and they'll either give up, or they'll just find something else that's more rewarding for them. For me, that's bowling, okay. And then then that gets the ball rolling. You know what I mean? I started going. I remember, like, about this time last year, I said to myself, all right, you know what? I'm going to concentrate more on bowling than anything ever. Okay, I'm just going to invest everything in the bowling, all my emotions in the bowling. And I improved by leaps and, well, not by leaps and bounds, but I improved pretty well. And then I started saying to myself, you know what, maybe I could take girls out to bowl with me, and I'll make a nice little date night. And then I'm like, to hell with the woman that I was crushing on, big deal, she's a friend, big deal, you know. And then that just got the ball rolling, you know what I mean? But a lot of people, when they seek approval, they don't like doing that. They like getting the approval. They like doing the things that has the ulterior motive, and they don't even know that they're doing it. And that's what makes people really creepy. What makes people really creepy is approval seeking. That's all it is, when it's indirect, of course. Now I want to touch on direct approval seeking. Direct approval seeking, for me, it's like asking somebody for some emotional comfort. And I'll do this a lot, especially if I'm just feeling down, you know, or if I'm just depressed, or if I didn't bowl really well in league or something, or if I'm just bored, or not productive, or whatever, you know, I'll meet some chick and I'll just, like, ask her to give me a hug, and she'll be like, well, what's the matter? I'm like, I'm just kind of blah. You know, nothing's really going on, you know, and whatever. You know, you want some emotional support, and although that's viewed as weak, at least it isn't creepy. You know what I mean? At least you're like, yeah, you know, here's the poor little puppy. You know, let's pet the poor little puppy. You know what I mean? It's better to be that than to be, you know, some like snarling hyena that's you know, that's just like waiting in the wings. It's just lingering, waiting in the wings. You know what I mean? But it doesn't know whether it wants to attack or not. So it gets friendly and affectionate, but really wants to attack the prey. You know what I mean? That's creepy. Just attack the prey. You know what I mean? So that's my little thing on approval seeking. My tips for stopping your approval seeking behavior is just go from indirect to direct. It'll make you weak at first. You know what I mean? Like if you really, like if like, let's say you're like really lonely and whatever. Let's say you're one of these older male virgins who's watching this, and you're like, man, should I tell the girl I'm a virgin or not? First of all, if you're ever planning on dating a woman, don't tell her that you're inexperienced. It's not going to, no. That's not going to happen, okay? No, it's not, no. Because inexperience in guys is viewed as a very negative and unattractive trait. Yes, I know it's not fair, and it shouldn't be that way, and no, why are women so shallow like that? Trust me, us guys are worse, okay? We're just as bad. If not worse. No, we're worse, actually. We're a lot worse, okay? Because we see too much experience as unattractive, and how the hell does that make any sense? You know what I mean? So, whatever, okay? So, stop with that ranting. Stop doing that. Because that's also approval seeking, because you're trying to get another reaction. You're trying to get people to feel sorry for you, which is, that's weak, pathetic, and creepy, okay? Whenever you're, like, indirectly asking people to feel sorry for you by being mad at stuff, that's awful, okay? That's just, and it's not entertaining, alright? Like me in high school, like, that was entertaining. People, like, thought it was some funny shit I was saying. You know what I mean? But when you're being toxic, that's the word I'm talking about here. That's when you're being toxic. That's the ultimate form of approval seeking, okay? So stop being toxic. If there's something on your mind, say it. And you know what? One of the best things to do is just to make some friends of the opposite sex. Just have some buddies that you can just talk to. You know what I mean? Just have a girl buddy that you can say, hey, you know what? Never had sex before. Every time it's mentioned, I get a little bit more nervous. You know, what the hell should I do about this? You know what I mean? And then you could, just use her as your therapist. I mean, I have a female friend who I do that with all the time, or used to. I don't even need to do that anymore because I can just go bowling now. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my little thing on approval seeking. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'm gonna be doing my next video about this topic, about the topic of inexperienced guys, or hard cases, as they say. I'm gonna do another video about this next week. Peace. Okay, I feel like a little bit more discussion about approval seeking is in order, because I left out a pretty big part of it. The whole nice guy thing and the friend zone thing. I was watching a video from I forget the guy's name, like 5 Sauce or whatever his name is. I forget what it is. But anyways, yeah, he made some pretty good points about the friend zone, saying how it's like a scientific thing or whatever. And then there was a Jenna Marbles video that I was watching about nice guys, or the whole nice guy persona. And what I mean by that is, I mean by guys who say and do nice things for women with an ulterior motive. That is not expressed. That's not played out. That's just kind of kept under the true intention. You know what I mean? And I fell into this trap when I was growing up. When I was a teenager, when my mom told me that, that you gotta be, hold on a second. There we go. Get my bag. There we go.
Much easier, much better. You know, when my mom told me that, you know, you gotta be nice, you gotta be polite, gotta get compliments and stuff, buy the girl nice things, all that good stuff, all the whole gentleman tactics, okay? That's what I call it. Why is that approval seeking? Well, if you're not doing it out of the kindness of your heart, if you're just kind of doing it because you feel like you're obligated to do that to get the women that you want, there's an ulterior motive there, and it's not directly expressed. If you still follow, let's say, the thing with, like, there's a really crazy example of, like, bringing flowers to a first date. You know, that is extremely approval seeking, because when a guy does that on a first date with a woman, that's him indirectly saying, hey, please love me, I want you to be my lover, and look, I bought you flowers, so doesn't that make it, do I get points? You know, that kind of stuff. The whole point system, in my opinion, is also very approval seeking. You know what I mean? The only points you should give are points you give to yourself if you're following your fundamentals of flirting and socializing with women, which I'll go over next week. Those are the only points you should give yourself. That's the only approval you should ever give yourself as well. So, yeah, that's my thing on that. And the thing about the friend zone is that, okay, let's say you do nice things for a woman, and she's like you're her therapist of sorts. You know, like, you know, she calls you late at night. We'll give you the classic. Forget it. We'll give you the classic, like, lame-o story where we'll give, like, the classic lame-o story where, oh, you know, you call me late at night, so how come we're not lovers? You know what I mean? That classic bullshit. In my opinion, it's bullshit. You know, lovesick story. You know what I mean? Why is that approval seeking? Well, that is approval seeking because you're being a woman's therapist and you're expecting something from her. That's approval seeking too, okay? And in the 4chan sauce video, I don't know what the hell it's called, so I'm just gonna call it 4chan sauce. In that video, he pointed out an example that Ben Franklin did to turn acquaintances into lovers, pretty much. And he had the female acquaintances do stuff for him. You know, he made the female acquaintances his therapist and stuff like that. Which, can that be useful? Not really, but it'll put things on even ground to where they're not one-sided. I mean, I have a female friend who I'm like that with almost to this day. You know what I mean? I talked about her earlier on in the video, and so on and so forth. So that's the thing. Nice guy stuff. If it's not genuine, then yes, it's very approval seeking. Being in the friend zone and hoping that your female friend becomes your lover someday, that's very approval seeking too, because you're focusing on one woman. You're being needy, not greedy. And I want you to remember that phrase for a later video, okay? Especially if you're inexperienced, you gotta be greedy, not needy. And I'm gonna explain that much later. So, there you go. That's my conclusion on approval seeking and all that other good stuff. So now it's time for me to get my ass home and do some more recording. Alright, I'm out. Peace.